Good morning, students. Today we will be doing a drama or story time, and we will be explaining the themes of colorism, prejudice, and social status while examining the way the characters feel and how they felt in the moment of the play. So our objectives for today would be a short summary of Old Story Time, exploring the themes of colorism, class and identity, a warm-up activity, a role play, and a hot seat activity. We're also going to have a discussion as well as a end of class conclusion.
Him the playwright that he was. Now, he was born in 1940 and he passed away in 2009, and he grew up in Bellagate, a village in rural St. Catherine in Jamaica. So he is Anglophone. He attended Rose Bruford College in Kent in England between 1960 to 63. And then he came back to Kingston in Jamaica, where he, along with 7 companions, started the Barn Theatre.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the main characters in the drama before we actually move on to the summary of the drama. I'm not going to give you the entire drama from Act 1 to whichever act it has, because it's going to take up a lot of time. So since we're trying to go through this drama a little bit more faster, we're going to focus on the summary and we're going to make our jottings on the summary, right? So our main characters are Paben, who is ambitious and insecure, Miss Aggie, who is the light-skinned wife, Pearl, who is the true love of the protagonist, and Len, who is their son that they have together, Miss Paben and Miss Aggie. So the summary of Old Story Time. The summary caters on Paben, a dark-skinned man who grows up facing discrimination because of his skin color. As a result, he becomes determined to improve his social status and gain acceptance in a society that values lighter skin. To achieve this, he marries Miss Aggie, a light-skinned woman, believing this will help him move up the social ladder. However, their marriage is unhappy. Paben does not truly love Miss Aggie, and their relationship is filled with tension and resentment. Instead, he remains emotionally attached to Pearl, a dark-skinned woman he genuinely loves, but avoids because she does not fit the idea of social success. The play also focuses on their son, Len, who grows up caught between his parents' expectation and the reality of his own identity. Through Len's experience, the play highlights the lasting impact of color. The main message that is also highlighted within this summary is that the play criticizes the damaging effect of colorism and class ambition, showing how chasing social status based on skin color can lead to unhappiness, broken relationship, and loss of true identity.
Now, if we look at Old Story Time, the first play which we would go through in this short lesson of ours, the plot goes around a single mother, an elderly single mother, Miss Aggie, who brings up and educates her son Len almost single-handedly. She's one described by the narrator, Paben, as somebody who mistrusts anybody who is dark-skinned, though she is one of that ethnicity. So it's a curious flip in her character which makes her despise something which describes her as well. Now, she wishes that her son would marry a relatively fair-skinned girl, Margaret, which would give them an entry to the higher echelon of fair-skinned people, and she's deeply disappointed when he does not. Now, Len educates his mother in the ways of accepting her own color and to accept the modern belief system together with her old customs and beliefs. But that does not initially in the play sits very well with Miss Aggie, because Miss Aggie's despise her negrophobia in a way is too deep-seated to change overnight, and this is the reason she also despises and openly abuses and condemns her own daughter-in-law, who in her opinion is dark-skinned and hence not good enough for her son. Now, later it is disclosed that girl who she wanted Len to marry, Margaret, was cruel to Len at school, and the gentleman who she believes in to entrust him with many of her investments, George McFarlane, is crooked. Now, though she is abusive of her daughter-in-law Lois, who is dark-skinned, and though she blindly believes in George, a swindler, because he's brown-skinned, though we see that her characteristic is in a way looking into or more obsessed with whiteness, later she changes her opinion when Lois and Len, you would be probably.
Okay, students, now we're going to do a warm-up activity where we're going to begin with a quick question. This question will have you thinking. Now, the question is, if you had to choose between love and social status, which one would you choose and why? Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about it, and then you're going to provide your answer by raising your hand. So Mary said that she would choose love. Why would you choose love, Mary? Because you would be happy. You would be very happy because you get to marry the man that you love and make kids with him. Yes, Mary. Sometimes in society that do happen, but most times people would choose the social status. Because in this life, a lot of people believe that money is the way of getting anything that you want. Whether you're happy or you're sad, money is what makes the world go round. So there are people who would choose the social status and they would choose the money over. Thank you for sharing your responses, students. This question connects directly with the main character, Ben, and his decision that he made when it comes to picking Miss Aggie as his wife. In his mind, he had to end up choosing the social status because he wanted to be more socially acceptable by society. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a role play activity. And in this activity, we are going to divide ourselves into smaller groups, right? And each group will act out a short scene from the story. And in these scenes now, we're going to focus on 2 main points, which is how the character feels in the moment of the story, of the drama I mean, and what they're making, what decision they're making within the moment. So this will allow you students to feel how the characters are feeling within the moment. And remember, it's drama, so you gotta put your real emotions into the role play. Okay guys, so you did so well at that performance, and I really got to saw the emotions that was felt by everyone as they played the specific character in the play, and that has taught me about how the characters would have been feeling in the time of the play. It also relates to you students because you get to feel the personal feelings that the characters felt within the moment of the play. Now, I also have a few questions here, right? Now that we have acted out the play, I want you to think, what emotion you think the characters were feeling at that time? Yes, Mary, love. That was one that the character was feeling. What other emotions do you think they were feeling? Yes, some of them felt anxious as well. Some of them felt anxious. Yes, John, that's correct, anxious. And lastly, do you think that the decision that they made was right or wrong? What do you think, John? Yeah, you think that was the right decision? I also think that too, personally. I think that was the right. Okay, so now we're going to play an activity called Hot Soup, right? We're going to choose a male from the class and he's going to come up here and pretend to be Mr. Habit. And the rest of you are going to come and ask him probing questions like, why did he choose Miss Aggies over Miss Pearl? Why does he want to climb the social ladder so much? You know, like probing questions to get into his head to see how he is thinking. Now our last and final activity. I know I said that before, but this here is our actual last and final activity. Now that we have written and we have felt and we have explored everything related to the play, we are now going to rewrite the play in terms of an alternate ending. Now let's imagine that Mr. Libon did not marry Miss Aggie. How would you think the story would end if he married Pearl instead, right? Or if not, how the alternate ending would have been with Mr. Paben and Pearl? How about if Ben had rejected his father's belief or his father's way of thinking? How do you think that would have gone? So I want you guys to write it down in your books and we're going to discuss it. Right? Yeah. So now that we have finished role playing, we've finished trying out all the emotions of the characters and experiencing the emotions of the characters, we are now going to go into a class discussion. In this discussion, we're going to explore a little bit more on how the characters interacted with each other. Okay? So we're going to split ourselves back into two groups. You can go back into the groups that you were previously. And we're going to write now. So now we're going to write. Before we had a lot of acting and a lot of emotions showing. So now we're going to take those emotions and transfer it into words. And everybody likes to transfer emotions into words, right? So we're going to now explore what you think the main message was when it comes to this play, this particular play. Do issues like colorism and social status, do you think, students, that social status and colorism still exist in society today? Yes, John, you think that it still exists, right? I also think that, right? But now we're going to write about how we would feel if we were in a situation as Mr. Libon and Miss Alice. So we're going to do a little writing now, right? Okay, you guys can go ahead and start. Now that we have experienced all the activities and we have expressed ourselves in ways that we have expressed ourselves, our final activity or exit ticket for today's lesson will be, I would want each of you to write down one lesson that you have learned from this topic. That would be one lesson that and with that, we have come to the end of today's lesson. I hope that this is very educational. I hope you understand each and everything that I was saying, and I hope you enjoyed the drama that we chose today. Thank you.